Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the online lecture series of engineering geology for third year first semester, third BTech first semester. I hope all you are fine in your homes with parents and relatives. Everybody stay home, stay safe. Why? Because in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, no one is outside situation is very dangerous. That's why I'm telling you, don't go outside on silly reasons and don't wander here and there for the unexplained pleasures or which will not fulfill you in life. So keep yourself away from the infection. I hope all you are fine in your homes, and please mark my words. And I'm telling you that outside situation is very bad. Outside situation is very bad. That's why whenever you go outside, please use your mask. So mask is to cover your face and cover your mouth and nose, not to keep here on chin. Okay. So many people are keep their mask here like this. That is useless thing. If you do that useless thing, nobody will care for you. Only you have to take care of yourself and your family also. So first you have to use your mask whenever you go outside. Then second principle is finish your work as early as possible, and third principle is return to home as early as possible. And before entering into the home, you have to clean your hands with hand sanitizers, or if the hand sanitizer is not available with you or in your home, then clean your hands with soap for 20 seconds at least. Then the virus may not enter into your home by your hands. That's why I'm telling you, usage of these things, hand sanitizers and washing your hands will keep you away from infectious diseases like COVID-19. I hope all you are fine in your home, and these online lecture series may not be habituated habituated to us. And one thing, the online lecture series is online lecture classes were not not habituated to me also, but I'm in a process of to learn something from these online classes by teaching you the subject. And I hope all you have to enjoy this online lectures. Maybe these were boring. Why? Because there is no eye contact between a teacher and a student. That's why it may bore you. It may keep you in uninterested mode, or that's why you have to keep yourself in a joyful mode to see the lectures. So I hope all you will understand. And now I would like to show you something, the textbook which I'm using to teach you engineering geology. This is the engineering geology. So this is the engineering geology textbook. So the image is reversed, I think. This is engineering geology textbook of textbook by N. Channakeswala. So the syllabus which here in this syllabus, very compatible with JNTU Kakinada syllabus. I'm using this textbook from last few years. So I recommend you to buy this one for engineering geology, and keep this textbook with you. And this thing, very helpful to score good marks in your exam, and also it will be helpful to know the subject in a detailed manner. So I am using this subject to teach the engineering geology classes. So in online classes, there is no much time to explain everything. Why? Because if I explain everything in the online classes, this lecture may goes up to 1 hour or 70 or 80 minutes. So yeah, on an average, any person can see a lecture with the interest is only 20 or 15 minutes. Then then the interest of his own mind, reduced, will be reduced. That's why I'm planning to reduce the timings up to 30 to 35. My timing would be in 30 to 35, not more than that. So please, I need all your cooperation. See the lecture series and learn something from lecture series. So it may helpful to you and to pursue your BTech exams. So this is the thing I would I would tell you. So now I would like to tell you that weathering topic. So in this lecture series, weathering processes of different rocks will be dealt in this session. So weathering process, I already told you from last three lectures. I'm explaining you. Weathering is nothing but the physical breakdown of rocks and chemical decomposition of rocks and biological decomposition of rocks, all considered as the weathering process. All considered the weathering process. Simply the term weathering is equal to uh, breakdown of rocks. So I will share the screen for you. I'll learn something. I will. So see the weathering. So weathering. Weathering equal to, what do you mean by weathering? Breakdown of rocks. Weathering is nothing equal to breakdown of rocks. How many types of weathering process were there? Types. What are the types were there in the weathering process? How many types were there? Is equal to three types. What are they? What are they? First one, physical weathering. First one, physical weathering, and second one, chemical weathering. Second one, chemical weathering. And third one, biological weathering. So three types of weatherings were there: physical weathering, chemical weathering, biological weathering. Physical weathering also known as mechanical weathering. Physical weather is also known as mechanical weathering, and it is also known as disintegration. Chemical weathering is also known as decomposition. Decomposition. So the combined effect of biological weathering, the extent of biological weathering is very less. So the combined effect of physical weathering and chemical weathering is known as the combined effect of decomposition and disintegration is known as the weathering. So in weathering, you will expect simply, the physical breakdown of rocks. The physical breakdown of rocks. Okay. This is the thing you have to know about the weathering. So now how the rocks were responded when the weathering process is done on the surface of the earth. When the weathering process done on the surface of the earth. What are the various products of the weathering? We will know here. We will know now. Yes. So what were the products of weathering? What were the products of weathering? After weathering, what you will get from the pre-existing rock? So there were so many products were there, but the ultimate product is nothing but a soil. Okay, ultimate product is nothing but a soil. So without without weathering process, there you could not imagine the production of soil. So production of soil is nothing but a depends on the weathering phenomenon. So for example, if a rock weathers in a dry climate, it will forms red soil. If a rock weathers in wet climate, it forms black or black cotton soils. Basing on the rock type, also the soil characteristics will change. For example, the black cotton soil will come from basalts, and red soils will come from granite. Red soils comes from granite. So ultimate product from the weathering is nothing but a soil. nothing but a soil. Soil is nothing but a loose unconsolidated material which supports plant growth, that is known as the soil. These soils were the production are produced from the weathering process only. Our earth crust is, earth crust is the thickness of the earth crust is 35 kilometers. In the earth crust, you will get a number of layers for there, but uppermost layer is known as the surface of the earth crust. I will show you some some diagrammatic. So this is some internal structure of the earth crust, mantle, core, crust. This is mantle. This is outer core. This is the internal structure of the earth. You are having three concentric layers. First one is crust, second one is mantle, and third one is from the surface is outer core, and fourth one is core. So both these are one, that is core. So weathering process will operate here, that is on the surface. On surface, weathering process will operate here. So on the surface layer, the loose and unconsolidated layer is there, that is known as the soil. The soil is the ultimate production of the weathering process on rocks. The soil is ultimate production of the weathering process on the rocks. In soils, there were so many minerals: montmorillonite, kaolinite, clay minerals. So many variety clay minerals were there. So according to the nomenclature, montmorillonite, kaolinite, and these clay minerals play an important role to form a soil. So so the weathering process is good in some aspects, and weathering process is bad in some aspects. For example, if you take weathering process in the constructional activities, it is bad. Whereas in the weathering process, so is very good to accommodate groundwater to support the plant life and to form some economic minerals, is very best and very good. So from the constructional activities point of view, weathering process is not not good. Whereas in the general point of view, weathering process is admirable. Why? Because without weathering process, there is no question of forming soils on the surface. Without weathering process, there is no question of forming soils on the surface, and without weathering process, there is no question of getting groundwater from the surface. And with, without weathering, there is no question of some valuable economic minerals like basalt, valuable economic minerals like bauxite and sulfur like minerals. They will form only the weathering process, and without weathering, there is no question of getting iron from the rocks is questionable. Okay, that's why weathering is important from some aspects, and weathering is not important from some other another aspects. So I would like to tell you that weathering is an important process in groundwater point of view, and weathering is an important process in construction activity point of view. We will see these and we will justify these statements in the coming slides. Okay. So weathering process like that only, and the ultimate product of weathering is soil. Ultimate product of weathering is soil, and I hope you already know that without soil there is no question of life on the earth. There is no question of life on the earth. On the earth, you will expect some life in seas and oceans, but you will not get life on the uh, hard rock terrains. Hard rock terrains you will not get. Whenever the hard rock terrain will form, whenever the hard rock terrain, whenever the hard rock terrain will, hard rock terrain after the influence of weathering, it will turns into the soil. Ultimate product for the weathering is nothing but soil. Okay. Ultimate product for weathering is nothing but soil. Next, importance of weathering. So according to the importance of weathering, groundwater point of view, weathering, if weathering is not there is no question of getting groundwater. If weathering is not there, there is no question of a plant life, support for the plant life. If weathering is not there, there is no question of getting a minerals like bauxite and all. Bauxite is the only source of aluminum metal on the surface of the earth. Bauxite is the only source of aluminum metal on the surface of the earth. Without weathering, there is no question of some iron minerals like hematite. Hematite chemical composition is a Fe2O3. You are seeing board behind me. So from after 2 or 3 days, I will teach classes on this board only because I'm getting some equipment from online mode. I ordered those things. In after 2 or 3 days it will come, and I will teach everything on board only. So online class may be a good, but teaching on board will give you more pleasure when you are listening a class. Okay. So these are the some products of weathering. So now we will see what are the weathering process, how the weathering process will operate on the surface of the earth. By seeing one example from rock, you will consider what kind of weathering, how it will attack the rock. Okay, you'll see here. So, for example, if you take earth crust as a whole, the highest rock which occupied the earth crust is nothing but granite. 90% of earth crust is made up of granite. Remaining 10% basalts and other rocks are there. So, for example, if you go anywhere, basement rock is nothing but granite. Basement rock is nothing but granite. That's why if you go here and there, you will find red soils everywhere. Sometimes in a particular pockets of area you will get black cotton soils, but everywhere you will get red soil because of the abundance of granite on the earth crust only. Okay, so now we will see what is a granite and what is the what how the weathering process will leads you to form different minerals from the weathering process of granite. In this regard, I would like to share the screen of my thing. First of all, granite is nothing but a abundant rock formation. It is having quartz and feldspars as a dominant minerals or abundant minerals, and muscovites, micas, biotite, iron oxides are the secondary minerals. So in the granite rock, 90% of the minerals composition is nothing but quartz and feldspars. The feldspar formation is KLSA308, and the quartz formation is SiO2. Quartz formation is SiO2. So now I would like to show you the picture how the granite will turns into a weathering product. So this picture I took it from this textbook only. This picture I took from this textbook only, engineering geology textbook. So, so according to the decomposition of granite. So how the granite will changes from preliminary to the secondary. So these are the minerals which were there in the granite. First mineral is feldspar. nothing but orthoclase feldspar will be there. The compositional chemical composition is K2O, Al2SiO3, Al2SiO3. You can add these things, and K2O, KLSO3. The chemical composition for the orthoclase orthoclase feldspar is KLSO3. I will show you the. See, so feldspar's chemical composition is Si3. 3 is suffix. O is also in the suffix place. O is also in the suffix place. I'm not getting options here in the Zoom kind of thing. So the feldspar chemical composition KLSI3, KLSI3O8, KALSI3O8, and 3 and 8 are suffix. Next, we are seeing quartz. Quartz chemical composition is SiO2. Quartz chemical composition is SiO2. So along with these things, mica and all minerals were there. So now we will go to the yes. So feldspars, nothing but orthoclase feldspar and oligoclase feldspar will be also be there in the granite, and third second most abundant mineral is quartz, and third most mineral is muscovite, and then nothing but 2H2O, K2O, Al2O3, S6, SaO2, and fourth abundant mineral is biotite, that is black mica. So these were the mineral constituents, mineral constituents present in the ground, present in the granite. Granite, the most abundant rock in the earth crust. So these were the compositions, and after effects, what the granite changes into. For example, you will see the step by step, and we will see mineral by mineral. Feldspar, orthoclase feldspar is broken into what? Oligoclase feldspar is weathered into what? Quartz is weathered into what? Muscovite weathered into what? Biotite weathered into what? We will see step by step. Okay. So weathering effect on orthoclase will be like this only. Goes into solution as carbonate or chloride, etc. Goes into solution as carbonate or chloride, etc. And these alumina hydrated silicates hydrated to form hydrous aluminum silicate with the liberation of soluble silica. So so this thing will goes into the soluble material, this K2O soluble material, and these Al2O3 6SiO2 forms clay comma soluble materials. Okay, the end product for the orthoclase feldspar is soluble material plus clay comma soluble material, oligoclase. So that chemical composition is 3Na2O, and this 3Na2O goes into solution as carbonate and chloride, etc. And this one turns into as weathering product of soluble material. CaO forms carbonate which is soluble in water containing carbon dioxide. That is also goes into the soluble material. So 4Al2O3, 2O SiO2, so decomposes as in orthoclase, decomposes as an orthoclase, and it forms a clay. It forms a clay from oligoclase feldspar. You will get clay as a byproduct, and these were going into as solutions. Next, quartz, SiO2. Quartz chemical compound is SiO2, and it is a weathering resistant mineral. It is a weathering resistant mineral. You already know that quartz is resistant to weathering. Quartz is resistant to weathering, and it is remains undecomposed. So the water reaction will not apply on the quartz. Why? Because water molecule will not enter into the internal structure of the SiO2. That's why there is no space that water molecule will enter. That's why SiO2 is a stable mineral. SiO2 will not alter through the weathering process. So water will not affect the stability of the quartz. That's why it remains undecomposed, and it will remains as a sand grains. It will remains as a sand grains. Next mineral is muscovite. 2H2O, KO2, K2O, 3Al2O3, and 6SaO2. This is also remains undecomposed. Why? Because water molecule will not enter into the muscovite chemical structure. That's why it is also remains undecomposed. So it will remain as microplex. So quartz sand grains, from quartz sand grains will form nothing but there is no change in the to change at all. So while in the rock it is known considered as a quartz mineral, while in the weather product is known as the sand grains, is nothing but a SiO2 quartz. Muscovite is also remains undecomposed, means the weathering process will not affect the muscovite, and it is known as the mica flakes. So next bite at it is a black mica, maybe somewhat unresistant to H2O, K2O, and 2 mgFeO. So black mica, biotite mica is nothing but H2O, K2O, 2 mgFeO, Al2O3, 3SiO2. So H2O, K2O goes into solution as carbonated chloride. Okay, simply it is water soluble material. This thing will soluble in material H2O, K2O, and 2 mgFe goes into solution as a carbonated chloride, iron carbonate, oxides into ammoniate or limonite. From this biotite mineral, the magnesium and iron will turns into the hematite, and for to Al2O3 or 3SiO2 forms as hydrous aluminum silicate and soluble silicate, and that is but clear that is nothing but a clear soluble mineral. Like this, the minerals in the granite are turns into the different weathering materials, feldspars, quartz, muscovite, and biotite minerals turns into the different different clay minerals. So from this feldspar, soluble part is K2O, and the clay forming part is Al2O3, 6AU2. From this feldspar, 3Na2O is a soluble material, and CaO is a soluble material. 4Al2O3, 2SiO2 is a clay mineral, and from this quad SiO2 remains undecomposed and remains as sand grains, and muscovite 2H2O, K2O, 3Al2O3, 6SiO2 remains undecomposed, and it is turns as mica flakes, and from this biotite H2O, K2O goes into solution, that is nothing but a water soluble material, and 2 mgFeO goes into solution as carbonate or iron carbonate oxides into ammonium, that is soluble material and a contra coloring material to the soil. The soils will look into red color because of the haemate mineral and limonite mineral only. Al2O3 forms hydrous aluminum silicates and soluble metal. It will forms as clay gamma soluble metal. Like this, granite, we can take granite as an example. Why? Because granite occupies an decent role, occupies a abundant composite, abundant rock in earth crust by weight or by volume. If you go to the, if you go into the basalt, if you take basalt as an example, if you take basalt as an example, you will see that if basalts will be there. Basalt is an important rock. From basalt, you will get black cotton soils. From basalts, you will get black cotton soils. So basalt is nothing but a black rock. From black rock, you will get black cotton soils. From that black rock, you will get black cotton soils. Whereas here, from granite, you will get red soils. From granite, you will get red soils. From granite, you will get red soils. So granite is equal to red soils, so basalt is equal to black cotton soils. Everywhere you will find red soils because of the abundance of the granite only. Everywhere you will find red soils because of the abundance of the red soils only. This is about the weathering process of granite and basalt. I hope you already you understood this lecture. So I would like to give you that one more example, that Weathering process is nothing but a breakdown of rocks. So you are having number of types in weathering, but the important types are physical weathering, biological weathering, and chemical weathering. Physical weathering is also known as the disintegration. Chemical weathering is also known as decomposition. Biological weathering nothing but a biological weathering. The extent of biological weathering is very less. Humans were the one of the destroyers of nature. You already know that human is a destroyer of the nature. He is destroying the nature by doing quarrying and mining. He is in the part of weathering process. He is in the part of weathering process. He is in the part of weathering process. So he is in the part of weathering process. I hope all you are good at your home. And with this, we completed this lecture, weathering process of rocks. We seen this thing as we seen granite as an example, and basalt as an example, and we see some basic things about the weathering. So thank you for all for staying with me this afternoon. Thank you.